If you want to grow on social media, this episode is for you. I've grown an online presence of over 200,000 social media followers and generated multiple millions in revenue with the power of social media. Not because I'm any marketing genius or have any special abilities. I do not. However, I do follow a proven, repeatable strategy. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing 3 ways to grow a social media audience and revealing the strategy that we use and recommend. My name is Adrian here with my co-host Carlos Colon. Welcome to the Print on Demand podcast, a show dedicated to helping you make money online with Shopify and print on demand. What's up? Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. Today, we are continuing our discussion on the proven, repeatable marketing strategies that we use and teach in our training and coaching program, T-Shirt Legends Academy, so you can make more sales and grow your brand, because that's what it's all about, right? That's what marketing is intended to help you do. But before we jump in, I just wanted to ask for a quick favor from you, our amazing listeners. If you are loving the Print on Demand podcast, can you please rate the show and consider leaving us a written review on whichever platform you're listening from? It only takes a minute, and this is a great way to support the show and let us know that you're enjoying these weekly episodes. So for a while, we were getting reviews and we kind of hit a plateau. We plateaued at 17 5-star reviews, and we're grateful for every single one, but it really does help the show and help us, expand our impact if when people do rate and review the show. So we really appreciate it. We're going to keep bringing these episodes to you guys every single week. So if you could show us some love, show the show some love, and just let us know you're enjoying it, we would really appreciate that. And so without further ado, let's just jump right in. So this episode, we're actually going to be breaking it up into kind of 3 parts. So part 1, we're going to be discussing the 3 B's of audience creation. So this is intended for social media growth, and we're going to be talking in the context of Instagram. Now, this can actually work on other platforms as well, but Instagram is our favorite primary platform for marketing. So we're going to be talking about in that context. Secondly, we're going to be breaking down the pros and cons of each of those B's of audience creation, and then we're going to be revealing the strategy that we use and recommend. So,
and Adrian, I just want to clarify. By audience, we mean this is your chosen group that you want to sell to for your products.
Exactly. Your niche, your target audience, your ideal customer, whatever you want to call it. This is the segment of the population that you are trying to serve with your products and with your brand.
And for example, then if it's volleyball players, then it's going to be people that are passionate about volleyball, right? Or if it's nurses, then it's going to be people in the nurse profession, right? And so that's what we mean. It's a group of people with a similar interest or life stage or similar passion that you want to reach.
Yeah, exactly. And when we say audience creation, like the 3 B's of audience creation, really that's building up a following. So growing your audience, building your following on Instagram. So let's get into it because, I think that this I hope is a very clarifying point for people, because it's very easy to overcomplicate growth strategies, ways to grow on social media. But really, when it comes to growing an audience on Instagram, to growing your followers, there's only 3 ways to grow. 3 ways. 1, you can build an audience. 2, you can buy an audience. And 3, you can borrow an audience. That's it. That's
Boom.
it. It's all encompassing. It's every way of growing your audience will fall into one of those buckets.
Yes.
And what I want to do is I want to bring clarity to this and explain exactly what I mean by each. And I also want to explain the pros and cons, because I'm just going to say it. None of these are perfect. None of them are perfect. And you don't need to just do one. In fact, we actually recommend a hybrid approach, and we're going to get into that. I want to break this down a little bit further. So first, let's just briefly define building an audience, our definition of building an audience. So when we say build an audience, we mean posting organically to your account and direct outreach. So this is free social media content creation, content marketing, posting, whatever you want to call it. It's leveraging the free aspects of social media. Examples of direct outreach, for example, would be commenting on others' account posts, whether they be your ideal customer posts or another place where your ideal customer is targeting or hanging out. So maybe there's a content creator in your niche who has a lot of influence, and your target audience is hanging out with that content creator on social media, on Instagram. They're interacting with their content, and it's a very active community. Well, it's beneficial for you to be there too, right? For you to be communicating and interacting, because those are your people. That's where your target audience is congregating, and you want to be where they're congregating. Ideally, we want them congregating on our brand page, but especially when you're small and just starting out, it's just not how it is, right? It's not how it is, but they're still there, and they're still congregating, and they're still interacting with people, and they're still parts of, they're still following influential people, influential brands and whatnot in the niche, and those are places you could be hanging out. This is also good for relationship building. So you can be building relationships in your DMs with your ideal customers directly. And this is one of the things we love about social media. But Carlos, is there anything you want to say about building an audience?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like building an audience is like the kind of parallel to that in the physical world is like you're socializing at a bunch of different events. And you start making friends, you start building trust through great conversation around mutual interest. And mutual interest in this case is going to be your niche, right? Whatever the niche is. If your niche is nurses, then it's going to be around things related to nurses. And if it's volleyball players, it's going to be around things related to playing volleyball. Yeah. Funny things, relatable things. But it's kind of like building those relationships with people at the ground level. And that's why I feel like it's the building. And it so that you eventually can be the one throwing the party and everybody's coming to the party.
Everyone's hanging out on your account, right? Yeah. And that's part of it too. Building an audience is content marketing. Like, you should be posting content. You don't have to post every day. You don't have to post 5 times a day, but you should be posting content that educates, entertains, or inspires your ideal target audience with the intention of having the algorithm recommend your content to people who are not yet following you. But let's move on to the second B. So the first B is building an audience. This is organically posting, so free content to your feed, to your page, and then kind of networking or interacting with others in your community, in your niche. Number 2 is buying an audience. And I want to make something really clear here. This does not mean buying followers. Please never, ever buy social media followers. It is super scammy. It is super unethical, and it has no benefit for your brand. In fact, I would say it has a more negative benefit. The only tiny benefit, and I think this is where people get sold on it, is like, oh, look at all these followers you have, right? Oh, look at all that social proof. But man, you can sniff out these accounts so easily. Just don't do it. Do not do it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Carlos, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that the problem too is that you're going to get low quality. Like, they're not going to get you high quality. It's like people paid to come to your party.
Exactly.
Like they don't want to come to your party. They're just paid to be there.
So back to the point, buying an audience is running paid ads to reach your ideal customer, to reach your target audience, and as a result, acquire more what you could call high quality followers or qualified followers, right? These are the people that you actually want to attract. These are people that are raising their hand and they're choosing to follow you. They want to hear from you. They want to see your content. And many of them even want to see your products because the values align, right? They're passionate about what your brand represents and why it exists. So why wouldn't they want to see products that about something that they're super passionate about, right? So that is buying an audience. That's the second way. So you got first, build an audience. Second, buy an audience. So that's running paid ads to reach your target audience. And then third is borrowing an audience. So examples of borrowing an audience would be influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, where you give a commission to people when they promote your brand and their followers buy products. And then having like a brand ambassador program where essentially you're borrowing someone else's audience. So for all these ways that I just listed, you are borrowing someone's audience, right? You're paying to get in front of their audience. And ideally, it's a really, really good fit. And it's very on niche. And sometimes that can be really successful. There are brands that have been built off the back of borrowing an audience. Now, Carlos, is there anything you want to add?
I just want to make a really quick clarification between buying and borrowing, because sometimes influencers are paid. Biggest difference between buying and borrowing is buying. It's a set platform, and you're putting an ad or message on it. It's like posting on a community billboard. Whereas, say, borrowing is like being introduced at a party by someone who's well connected. It's more influential. You don't control the audience, of course, but the nice thing about it is it builds trust, right? It's different than seeing an ad on a billboard because it's coming from a trusted source.
Yeah, no, I like that. Thank you for clarifying that. So what I want to do is I want to actually break down the pros and cons of each, because like I said earlier, none of these are perfect. They all have pros and cons, and you have to figure out what's best for your brand. We're going to share afterwards what we do, what we recommend, what we found to be the most effective, having tried all three of these things, because we want to share that with you guys from our own experience, right? Hopefully it'll help you avoid making costly investments, costly mistakes, or maybe you'll do another way. And if that works for you, awesome, because the best strategy is whatever works for you, right? So let's just get into it. I want to start with build. I really like build a lot. This is definitely one of my favorites. So let's break down the pros and the cons. So the pros of building. Well, let's see. It's free, which is huge, of course. Everyone loves free, right? You can occupy unlimited amounts of online digital real estate at no cost. So that's great. You have full control of the content. Unlike influencer marketing, for example, where maybe they'll go off the rails or they'll do something that isn't what you wanted. You have full control of the content. And then another pro is you can start right away. You can start today. You can start today, anytime you want, and you can post as much as you want. So those are the pros of building an audience. All right, let's talk about the cons, because there's cons. So let's talk about it. It's definitely slower, especially at the beginning. It can be much, much slower than something like buying an audience. It's more work, since you have to constantly be creating content or reaching out to people and interacting with people regularly. And it's less predictable. You never know how many people that your content is going to reach. And sometimes you might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe you'll have a piece of content go viral and reach a bunch of people in your target audience. And then other times it'll be a total flop. And many times it'll be a total flop. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. But we live and we learn, right? We analyze, we optimize, and we improve our content moving forward. Action brings clarity. We say it all the time. So when you take action, you're going to start seeing what works, what doesn't work. And then what you want to do is you want to create more of what works and less of what doesn't, right? That's really what it comes down to. And we'll talk about that more in future episodes. But those are the pros and the cons for building an audience. Let's get into buying, unless, Carlos, you had anything you wanted to say there.
No. Let's go. Buying.
Let's keep it rolling. Buying. So the pros are, it's very quick, like very, very quick. You can be in front of tens of thousands of people, technically hundreds of thousands of people with a big enough budget in 24 hours. Like, that's how quick these can work, right? How quick these ads can get your products in front of people. Now, is it going to be profitable? That's a whole other question. Are those people going to buy? Maybe they will, maybe they won't, right? And we don't ever recommend starting at big budgets without any form of validation, because That's like gambling to us. And we like to take calculated risks. We don't like to throw it all down without any validation, right? So it's quick. You can get in front of a lot of people very fast. It's predictable because you can choose how many people you want to reach. So if you want to reach more people, you increase your budget, right? And it's scalable. This is a huge scaling strategy used by many of the most successful brands in the world, right? If you have something that sells really well, that's really resonating with your target audience, why would you not want to get in front of more of your target audience? So, you can increase your reach very easily just by increasing your budget. And this is one of the most effective strategies for increasing your sales. So let's continue with the cons here. One, it can be expensive. It is an investment.
Yeah.
Yes, you do have to spend money to run paid ads to get in front of people. Now, if it's profitable, you're going to get a positive return. So maybe for every dollar you put in, you're getting $4 back, $5 back. So that's what we want for everyone, right? That's the holy grail. That's what everyone should want. However, if the ads don't perform well, expect to lose that money. That's just how it is with advertising. But yeah, they can be expensive if they're not performing well. Secondly, you can become dependent on ads. So, there are some brands out there that all they do is run ads on repeat all the time. And, what happens is as soon as they stop running ads, their reach dries up. And really, they're just putting all their eggs in the ads bucket, which can be a bit risky because if your account was terminated, which, it's pretty rare, but it does happen. It can happen, and it has happened to quite a few people, then your reach would immediately disappear, right? And then the other thing is performance fluctuations. So ads, they can fatigue and costs can fluctuate drastically throughout different times of the year. So this can be based on seasonality. For example, in the fourth quarter, which is the last 3 months of the year, that's the biggest selling season of the year, when buyer intent is at an all-time high because you've got the holidays and Black Friday and Cyber Monday, ads get really expensive because guess what? Brands know that buyer intent is at an all-time high. They know that people aren't just shopping for themselves, but they're shopping for their loved ones and their friends. And many times those are other people in the same niche, right? So ad costs can get a lot more expensive in the last quarter of the year. And if you're totally reliant on them, then this could affect you. Versus if you had built up a big email list, for example, well, it doesn't cost you any more to send 1,000 emails in November than it does to send 1,000 emails in January because you're just paying for the cost of the email marketing software. Carlos, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with all those cons. It's expensive, it's risky. There's performance fluctuations. I still love ads, but there's the right place for them and the right time. And
exactly.
It's, we love them for testing. We love them for testing new products to get extra validation. So products that we already have done research on, so the research backed, plus we've already validated them with our existing audience, our audience that we built. And then we also like scaling. We also like scaling up. I think my favorite is scaling up because
100%.
It's exciting and you're well rewarded for it.
Right. Yep. Testing and scaling, testing and amplifying your reach. Scaling just means, reaching more people. That's essentially what it means. And you can do that by turning up the budget or by running more ads, targeting different audiences, different people. That's what we mean by scaling. But yeah, those are the two main reasons we like them. We wouldn't just want to run ads all the time, if we weren't either testing or scaling up winning designs. Let's jump into the last one. This is borrow. So the pros of borrowing an audience is it can be quick. So you can potentially reach a lot of people quickly if the campaign performs well. So let's just say you're working with an influencer or a content creator and it's a really good fit and they promote your product and it just works out really, really well for you because it's it's very aligned. It's like their target audience, their followers are your target audience and they're showing them something that has mass appeal for them, right? Sometimes that can work really well. It can build trust and boost authority. For example, if a larger influencer in the fitness niche that people know, like, and trust is recommending people follow your brand, they're more likely to follow and trust you, right? Because there's already someone reputable that they know, like, and trust vouching for your brand. And it can also boost your authority if you're recommended by large, well-known accounts. So this is a form of social proof that you can also use to build trust. And then the other pro is that you can be really targeted, right? You choose who you work with, or if you're putting together an ambassador program or an affiliate program, these are probably people that are passionate about what you sell, or why would they want to promote it, right? So if you work with the right brands or people who are very dialed in on that niche, then you can target a lot of your ideal customers. Now let's talk about the cons. So the cons are that it can be expensive. So there's different ways that you can go about this, but it can be expensive. So in many cases, you're paying other accounts in the form of free merch or direct payment, and there's no guarantee of performance. Many times there's zero guarantee. They can't guarantee how many sales are going to make you, and many times they're not going to make you any. I'm just going to keep it real. We've worked with influencers who never made us any sales. It is what it is. It comes with the territory. And that's why we're just saying it. We're putting it out there. Like, this is one of the risks you take when you bore an audience, right? Another con is it can be inconsistent. So similar to ads, once brands or influencers stop promoting your brand or your products, your reach could nosedive, right? If that's all you were hoping for, and then all of a sudden they stop promoting it, the reach is going to nosedive. So there's usually no guarantee of results, and they can vary drastically, even with those large audiences. Even if they have a huge, large, qualified audience, you just never know, especially if you don't have a winning design or a winning product, and they're promoting it, and people are like, oh, that's cool, but like, that's an ugly design, or that's an ugly shirt. I just don't want to wear that, right? So there's a lot of things that can go wrong there, right? If their post flops, which can totally happen, it can result in low reach. Or if their post reaches a lot of people, but they do a bad job promoting your brand or your products, then it can result in very few new followers and very few sales. And then the other con is that it can be time consuming. So you have to research potential influencers or accounts. If you want to do an ambassador program or an affiliate program, usually you have to use a third-party software where there's dedicated Shopify apps for this, but you still have to set them up. It takes time. And then you have to start reaching out to people, hoping they respond, building relationships, agreeing on terms, sending them merch. You may also pay them. And then many times you have to follow up with them if they don't deliver on their promise. We've literally had influencers who we sent merch to and they never promoted the product. They just ghosted us afterwards. It happens, right? It happens. But these are the risks you take. And I'm not saying it can't work, but we're just trying to lay out all the pros and the cons here so that you can make a more informed decision. That's what it's all about. All right, let's do the big reveal. I'm just going to say it's building and buying. It's a combination of two. That's our hybrid approach. And let me explain. So building, this is my personal favorite way to build an audience. And it's where I recommend everyone start and what I recommend you commit to doing consistently. That doesn't mean you have to post every day. It definitely does not. But you just, be consistent. It builds trust with your brand when you're putting content out there, right? So we really like building, but we also love buying. The power to be able to amplify your reach in 24 hours and just get a killer product in front of so many more people. This can change the game for a brand. And it does. It changes the game for a lot of brands. So we definitely recommend using running ads, or definitely recommend running ads for testing and for amplifying your reach to attract your ideal customer. However, you do want to be strategic. So if your ads don't perform well, it's very easy to burn through money without growing your audience or making sales. So we already talked about that in the cons of buying an audience. So I just want to reiterate that because it is important to know that. And so we do love the benefits of buying an audience as well, but we take calculated risk with it. We don't gamble. We take calculated risk. So we always recommend testing new designs on, free or low cost marketing channels if you can, if you have access to those, if you've set those up, like your Instagram page or your email marketing, or testing ads at small budgets to see how they perform and only increase in the budget if it performs well. When it comes to borrowing, this is totally optional. So influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, ambassador programs, they're totally optional. And I actually do not recommend doing this early on. We've done all of these things. We've had ambassador programs, we've done influencer marketing, we've done affiliate marketing. They can be very time consuming with very few results. And I don't think it's the lowest barrier to entry by any means. And so I think what it can do is it can eat up a lot of time with very little results for a lot of people. And if you're someone who's experienced this, you've tried it and you really didn't get many results from it, you're not alone. A lot of people, it doesn't work for their brand, especially if you don't have a winning designer product, right? Especially. So, because even the best people, if it's not a product anyone wants, even the most credible people in your niche are not going to be able to sell that to many people, right? So we don't recommend this early on. It's kind of, it can be very time consuming, kind of a bright, shiny object. And it's our least favorite way of the 3 ways to build an audience. And it's a strategy you absolutely do not need to build a 6-figure or a 7-figure brand. We know because it hasn't helped us very much. And we made multiple 7 figures in sales across 2 apparel brands. So if I were to start a new t-shirt or apparel brand today, I would focus my time, energy, and budget solely on building and buying an audience. And I would only consider borrowing an audience as a form of scaling once my brand was very well established and had made a ton of sales. And ideally, I had other team members. Like I had a dedicated marketing person or a dedicated ambassador program person working on my team. Carlos, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. Keep it simple. The big idea here is that you don't only need great products, you also need to get those products in front of the right people on repeat. And so building an audience is super important. It's incredibly important.
Yes.
But how you do it, how you approach it does matter, because there's easier ways of approaching it and there's more difficult ways of approaching it. And there's ways where you have more control over things and there's ways where you have less control over things. And the simplest way that we found is build your audience, start building your audience, and then buy your audience when you're testing or scaling products.
Yeah. With that, we're going to kind of land the plane on the episode. And as we wrap up here, I just want to mention that if you did enjoy this marketing episode, I'm sure you can hear in our voices that we enjoyed it. This was so much fun. But if you did enjoy this marketing episode, I do recommend checking out our free 60-minute on-demand training called How to Make Your First $10,000 with Shopify and Print on Demand, which we're going to link in the show notes. There, we reveal the exact strategy that we used to generate multiple millions in sales across 2 businesses in completely different niches. And at the end of the masterclass, there's also an opportunity to join our training and coaching program called T-Shirt Legends Academy. So if you're one of those individuals that's looking for personalized coaching to expedite the growth process, if you're looking for a supportive community of other ambitious entrepreneurs on the same path as you want to get in the room, you want to get access to those people, and step-by-step training on our proven repeatable strategies heavily focused around marketing, then TLA might be a good fit for you. So you can learn more about it on that masterclass, and then you can make an informed decision, all right? So you can register for that training by clicking the link below in the show notes or by going to ecomlegendsacademy.com/grow. So with that, we're gonna sign off. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening. Have a great week, everybody. Remember to start before you're ready, take imperfect action, and know that you're always one design away.
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh.
If you're loving the Proud Man podcast and want more, please help us out by rating this on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening from. It only takes a minute, and this is one of the best ways to support the show and let us know that you're enjoying these weekly episodes. Thank you in advance, and we'll talk soon.